Welcome to First Alarm Family First. We're coming to you back from community newspapers in South Miami. I'm Jen Herrera.
Yes, and I'm Carolyn Acosta, and today we're honored to be joined by Mayor of Doral, Madam Mayor Christi Fraga. She's been a strong advocate for education, public safety, wellness, and mental health, and a great supporter of First Alarm Foundation. I also had the privilege of joining her on her podcast in the city with Christi to share my story and our mission, and we're here today.
Yes, thank you so much, ladies. I'm really happy to be here, honored that you asked me to come and participate. It's my pleasure.
Yes. Well, we're happy to have you. So first question, we obviously talk a lot about mental health and stuff like that. So what does mental health and wellness mean to you personally?
So to me, I think it means just taking time for oneself, recognizing, when you're overwhelmed, recognizing when you need some help, maybe recognizing when you need a moment to pause. And, it's funny because I think that people think that happiness just comes and we have to work on happiness. Like you have to wake up and choose to be happy every day. And I tell this to students all the time where I think they just think that people are naturally just happy all the time. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I choose to wake up and be happy. And some days it's harder than others just because of the stress and the daily grind of life. But I think that we have to learn to work on that intentionally. And so I think mental health is being able to recognize when you need some of that support and when you need some help and then actively working on it.
On this show, of course, we talk primarily about the mental health of our first responders. You are the mayor of Doral.
Yeah.
As the daughter and wife of a firefighter, you know Carolyn's story. Yes. All Miami-Dade firefighters, their headquarters is in your city.
Yes.
That's a really big deal.
Yes.
How does that, and not saying that you don't prioritize other things, but how does that kind of spotlight our first responders, the fact that your city is their home with their headquarters and making sure that they are okay or that they have the resources to be okay?
Yeah, so I think we have a great relationship with Miami-Dade Fire. We just had the chief actually recently with us at our council meeting. Every year we invite them to come and do like their annual report and give us an update on what they're doing to improve services. And we always ask, what can we do for you? So we do visit the stations that are within our city. We try and make it a priority for us because they're the services that's provided to our city, but also because we truly honor the service that they give residents across Miami-Dade County. We try and let them know that we are grateful for their service. And so we'll bring stuff to the station. We've done proclamations. We've gone when they, inaugurated a new fire truck or a new vehicle to let them know that we care, that we're here. And sometimes, just because, again, life is busy and there's so much going on, we may forget to say thank you, but don't be afraid to come and ask and say we need help. And so I always tell them, we had them there at our 9/11 memorial this past week, and I went up to them and I said, if you guys need anything, we have advocated for better facilities for them. We asked for another rescue truck for them and we got one. So we've also been very vocal and standing up for the guys when we need to and the ladies when we need to, while continuing to maintain a good relationship with the administration, because sometimes that there is a push and a shove there, right? Or else I live it too on my end with, police and other things. So we try and make sure that they know that we're a voice for them and we can be. We do a lot of stuff in the community where we invite them to participate in. So, definitely a plus for Doral. We have a lot of headquarters in our city from the county. And so we try and involve them as much as we can in those things while respecting the fact that they are county and not directly under the city's purview.
Do you see any opportunities to raise awareness and education within our first responders agencies?
For sure. So I actually participated in a Dancing with the Stars that they did. I think it was the first one they ever did to raise funds for the first responders, particularly firefighters. I did it with the union. They did it with the union. And it was a lot of fun. It was a great way to kind of, lightheartedly I don't know, I was a great dancer, but like honestly,
You're Cuban. You have real.
yeah, but it was not. It was horrible. I was like, can somebody give me some salsa here? No, I had like the West Coast trot or something. I don't know what it was. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. We got to connect with them. I got to see it from a different side because we had some first responders that also danced. And I invited them to do it again and do it at our amphitheater.
Yeah.
So I would love to see it be done again. I don't know that it has been done again. And we had a great turnout when they did. But and we practiced at, I think it was at Arthur Murray. I don't remember now where we did it in the one down south. But it was great. It was a nice way to kind of participate. So yeah, I think there's a lot we can continue to do to raise funds for these agencies, and particularly for nonprofits, NGOs that provide services and resources and funding for more mental health awareness and wellness, and making sure that they're taking care of themselves because they take care of us.
Yeah.
And I think just talking about the whole Dancing with the Stars-esque right fundraiser, I love that because it's not something that somebody may traditionally think would be a good idea to raise money for mental health. I think there's we use the word stigma all the time. There's this stigma where it has to be some serious fundraiser, some somber moment. And that's because you said mental wellness.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we have to focus on, the mental wellness.
And I always talk about that. I actually don't necessarily talk about mental health, even though obviously that's the priority. It's mental wellness, right? It's mind, body, physical, soul. I think all of that goes into play.
I think it's a very interesting story. You started on the city council for Doral very young.
Yes.
Then you ended up on the school board.
Yes.
Then you become the mayor of the city. I Wikipedia'd you, obviously, among other things. And I'm like, damn, she's young. You've done a lot in a short amount of time, especially don't want to compare ourselves to others, but when you look at other people who are in a similar position than you. And you're a wife. And you're a mom.
Yes.
Do you ever feel a little like, ugh?
Yeah,
moments.
Absolutely. I think we all have. Whether you're just, I shouldn't say whether you're a stay-at-home mom and that's your number one priority and you have 3 kids or 4 kids or 1, or you're a mom and 50 other things. I think we all have multiple roles that we play. So yes, absolutely. There's days where I feel overwhelmed and tired and like I could use a break, and I've done it, and you just have to know when to recognize it, when to ask for help. Have a great team. I have a really good team that supports everything that I do, not just how it's in my colleagues, but in the team that actually works for me and my staff. So yes, it's not easy sometimes, but I do love what I do, and that makes it so much easier too, right? I always say it doesn't feel like work for me because I truly enjoy it. And I did not plan to be in politics. It was a total by mistake. Kind of fell into it and fell in love. I'm very passionate about it. I always, now more than ever too, but I've always been socially involved in things, but now more than ever I see that we need to be a part of the solution, and we can be it in many different roles and ways, but for me I guess politics was the vehicle that God put in my path to be able to provide a service and community impact, if you would. So I truly do love people, and I think that that's why I love what I do.
That's beautiful. And I know I've followed you on social media. This summer you took a trip to Europe.
I did.
It was
that was a break that we totally needed. Yeah. And we hadn't like vacation like that in a while. And my husband's a big, he likes to disconnect and he likes to immerse himself in where we go. So we've done little vacations like with my family, and we'll go for a week, 2 weeks. I think the most we had done since I've been elected is like maybe 12 days, because I do get like separation anxiety. No, I'm just kidding. But I do like, I have a little bit of FOMO. I'm like, I don't want to miss what's going on over here. And but this year we're going to be 15 years married now in October coming up. And he was like, I just want to get away the whole summer. And I was like, the whole summer? And he's like, yes. And so we planned it for a long time. We saved and we left to Italy for 6 weeks. And so it was great. We just got to, just me, my husband, my son. My parents came for a couple of days and stayed with us, and then came back. And then some friends came with us and stayed with us for about a week and then left. But it was really nice to just be the three of us, and I completely disconnected.
Yeah.
Now, again, God works great because I did take my phone and I took my laptop and everything, and then I had no service.
Oh,
We
wow.
did stay like in a farm at one point because we moved around a little bit. But I had horrible service. And everybody around me had service, and I was the only one that had no phone service.
Somebody knew.
Yeah,
Right?
So I have AT&T, but I guess because somebody in the city was like, "Oh, you should get FirstNet." There's this thing called FirstNet.
First responders, yeah.
So it's for first responders and government employees. And so not only do you get a really nice significant discount on your AT&T bill, but supposedly if all networks go down, yours doesn't when you're here. But nobody tells you that when you go international, you have no service.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I have it.
Okay, yeah. Well,
I've never even heard of it.
FYI, when you go overseas, you're like the last priority to get service.
Okay.
So I had no service when I was over there. And my husband was like, yes, God, because otherwise
Your team's freaking out anytime.
I was completely disconnected. I didn't check my emails for an entire month, which was really hard for me. But it was great because I really got to enjoy the moment. I didn't post. I posted the last week of my trip, and I was actually here and I was posting like if I was over there.
Yeah.
So I didn't do anything but be in the moment with my family and really get to just take it all in. And it was so nice.
And
it was
so
really
important
nice
to spend that time, especially with your kids. They grow up so fast.
Yes.
And then also your parents, they're getting older. When I saw that, I was like, I don't know you that well, but I was like, that's such a beautiful, and I'm so like glad that you got to do that. I was like, I need to do an extended trip.
It was so nice.
Yeah.
It was so nice. It was beautiful. And I love Italy. I actually studied there for a semester when I was in college, and I hadn't been back since then. I had been 18 years.
Don't do the math.
I know that it's been 18 years, but it was beautiful, just as I remember it. And it's such a beautiful country. And so we were very blessed to do it. We did, like I said, plan for it and save for it, and probably can't do that for a long time again. But it was, I think, definitely one of those core moments that my son will remember forever.
You mentioned the fact that your parents went on that trip. You're Cuban American. You're American.
Yes.
Your parents are Cuban. We were talking about the Freedom Tower, obviously, in light of events this week. Your parents being Cuban, coming to this country, it's a story so many of us have.
Yeah.
Very similar.
So many of our history, yeah.
How do you think that inspired you? Because you said you fell into politics.
Yeah.
Right? So how do you think maybe their story, your upbringing, South Florida itself, played a role in you going into politics?
My grandmother, so I say this a lot. My grandmother, who used to say, or says she's still alive, she's still there. She has Alzheimer's, and so it's kind of hard because we're starting to little by little lose her, which is so hard to watch. But she would always tell me, Christi, es mejor ser útil que importante. It's better to be useful than important. And I guess that kind of stuck with me somehow. And like I said, in school, I was always involved. I was always at like some type of student government or in a club. And my mom always said que yo siempre estaba inventando. I was always like coming up with the ideas. And I was, and it's funny because I pulled out a box the other day that she brought to my house because she was getting rid of stuff in her house. And it was all my old yearbooks and stuff from elementary school. And a teacher, when I was like 5 years old, had written in one of my cards, Christy's going to be like, I don't know if she wrote politician. I don't remember the exact word. She's going to be president or something. Like she wrote something like leadership, like she's going to be something. And it's funny because I never thought of that. Like I didn't study for this or anything. I was never like, I'm going to be in politics. It always interested me because I always cared about what was happening in our community or in our country. But because of where my parents came from and my grandparents, and knowing the history of what they went through, it was always relevant to me who was being elected, what were their values, what were their priorities, what were their initiatives and the platform, and who were they. But I never was like, oh, I'm going to run for office. And so it's interesting because I was kind of taken to the opportunity because of our business. We were in an area that was flooding heavily. It was a private road. And my partner said, we got to get this road turned over to the city. And so he kind of like tasked me to go to the city and start working on it. And as I started to get myself more involved in the process and how difficult it could be, and there was an election coming up, and I just started to see council meetings, and it was the same thing, like the same discord and same old politics and like no one willing to help. And so I kind of realized that if I wanted to be a part of the solution, I had to get involved. And one thing led to the other. And before I knew it, I had like residents saying, you should run, and business owners should run. I had lived in Doral for 15 years at that point. And it was the first time the city council was having like a big election, because we're a really new incorporated city. We're incorporated in 2003. So this was 2012. It was still a very small city per se. And so it's like, okay, what do I have to lose? There's more to gain in providing my knowledge and my desire to help than to lose. If I lose, I lose. No big deal. I keep doing what I've always done. But like I said, I fell in love with it. I started to fall in love with the people and going out and talking, and then watching the fruit of your labor turn into something positive for someone else, whether it was an impact or you help somebody. It was the most rewarding part, and it still is to this day. And so that's why I do it. The rewarding part is getting to see the fruit of your labor, whether it's in a new park or it's in helping, a senior citizen with something as minor as transportation. So to me, that's the rewarding part. There's a lot of hard parts too. It's a lot of sacrifice.
Right.
But we don't talk about those things because we signed up knowing it, right?
We choose happy.
Right. Huh?
We choose happy.
We choose
right?
happy. Absolutely. Absolutely. And some days it's harder than others.
Absolutely.
But it really truly is a rewarding experience. And like I said, I think I found in me something I didn't know existed or I never expected to love as much, but I do. And then my background is in accounting and finance, which we were talking about, which is very helpful too, right? Because
I think that's fantastic to have a
is the
politician
biggest part of our job. We have a fiduciary responsibility and a legislative one. And I would say the fiduciary one is probably our biggest responsibility. And so for me, being able to understand, and by the way, public accounting is completely different, or private sector accounting is very different than the public sector. But I've learned it over the years, and I challenge anyone to come and challenge me on our budget.
I love that.
I think it's a very well put together, balanced budget, and we prioritize the things that we need to be prioritizing.
And I love to see like more females in these like high roles. I think that, we didn't see that in the past. And now that, you see more of it, it's a great thing.
Yeah. For me, it was double. I was female and young. I was 23 years old. So that was a hard hurdle to overcome, not on the community side, on the, I don't want to say establishment side, but on the establishment side, like, I was completely written off. I still am to many times. I walk into a room, and depending on who I'm walking in with, the people that I'm walking in with that don't know who I am will immediately turn to talk or address someone else before they address me, which is fine. I don't take it personally, but it's just interesting to watch the dynamic.
Do you think it's more based on being a female or being young?
I think it's the double. I don't think it's so much being a female anymore, because like, for example, my city manager is female, and let's say she'll walk in with me, or I'll walk in with other females. If they look a little older than me, the attention goes there, thinking they're the mayor or they're the authority in the room, versus me. Again, I don't take it personally. For me, authority and power and all that is perceived, but it's just funny to watch because it's still something I still have to overcome. It doesn't happen to me so much in Miami anymore, because everybody kind of, now I have like a little more of an established reputation or name, let's say. But when I go to like these conferences elsewhere with all these mayors or other leaders, it happens quite a bit. Like they'll think that I'm just the assistant to someone else or something, which is funny to watch.
Yeah.
I always used to say one of my greatest superpowers is being underestimated.
100%.
I love that. Absolutely.
So yes, it's like, keep underestimating me. I am okay with that. It's easier for me to knock you off your chair, right? It is coming in with this huge expectation, and then you're underwhelmed.
Exactly.
What do you think it is that, I just had this thought, and I don't know if this is appropriate to say, so excuse me if it's not. Like if I had like a lineup of women and I had to pick like the mayor of Doral, I think I would pick you just because of Doral, right? And you mentioned it, relatively it's a younger city, but how quickly Doral has grown. Yes. And not only how it's grown, but what is in Doral. Like whatever you need is in Doral.
Yes.
Business-wise, you mentioned being the headquarters of several different departments, county, right, agencies.
And companies too. We have quite a couple Fortune 500 companies in our city.
So I think, right, like, that's the mayor of Doral. But what do you think appealed to the citizens of Doral with your name on the ticket? Why did they choose you?
I think it was a message that we were sending, right? First, I had to prove myself, right? So they gave me a chance the first time. If I would have screwed it up, I don't think they would have given me another chance, right? But I think it was building the rapport with the residents. So accessibility, real transparency. I think we kind of changed the game in politics a bit. Like we changed the rules of the game. Not just necessarily me, but the access to resources in the sense of social media.
Yes. I'm so glad you brought that up.
You know,
You're huge on social media and you do it well.
Yes. So here's the thing with that. I would think I was one of the first, and then people, and I don't like to say this because it's not to like toot my own horn or anything. I did it for the people, right? And that sounds really cliche, but I really did. Like it was like, I need to use this platform that people are using to communicate the message of what we do for you. And I always tell my team, I'm like, when you post something, ask yourself the question, what does this do for someone else, right? It's not about me. I'm not an influencer. Even though my platform has an influence, there's a very fine line. And so everything we post has to have some type of meaning, right? Or something that gives somebody else
information.
Like I'm always thinking about, it doesn't mean I don't post, like I post pictures of my son and stuff. Like what does that do for someone else? Nothing. It shows, that I'm a mom too.
Right.
That they're relatable and empathy. But every information, everything we put out is like, why would someone want to come back? Right? I always say that they've got to get something out of what we're posting. But I do that from very early on, from the initial stages of coming in and becoming a public figure, let's say, or a public servant, was how we use this platform that was not being utilized by politicians or by elected officials at all. Because they're older. I would want to say it's like the one that like really changed how the digital media game and getting elected. I used it in a different way. I used it to communicate after I was elected. I didn't necessarily have the funds for using it to get elected. My election was purely grassroots, knock on doors. Yes. I used to come home and have like postcards where I would hand write notes. So funny story, when I first started to run for office, it was me and remember I said, a bunch of residents and businesses were like, yeah, run. But then they left me completely alone.
Yeah.
Like, run. So I filed to run. I'm like, hey, I filed to run. Who's going to help me fundraise? And everybody's like, crickets. No, I did it with like $16,000, which was friends and family giving $200, $300, $500. I think my parents wrote a $1,000 check. We did it with very little money, but it was a lot of go and knock on doors, just me and my husband. And my mom would come help every once in a while, my sister, and like little things here and there. A couple friends would come. You trickled in every once in a while. But I would go home and I had printed these cards, like they would say thank you, and I would handwrite. I remember telling my husband, when we would knock on doors, he would take notes. Like somebody would come and say, I can't talk because my cat is sick. I don't know, just giving you, or someone or I'm cooking dinner for my children. I would write these little notes down so that when I would go home, I would write them a note saying, thank you for taking your time from cooking dinner for your 3 kids to talk to me for 2 minutes. And I would handwrite these notes, and we would send out stacks of cards like this to people that I had talked to one-on-one, so that there was the 7 touches, right? That I knocked on your door, you got the card from me, then you got the mailer, then you hear me on the rate, whatever it is. You got to try and touch people 7 times in a different way. That's marketing. And so that's how I got elected the first time around. To this day, I still do these handwritten note cards, by the way, because it was the personal touch. But I didn't have a huge team of people like I may have now at the time. So I used social media to try and make sure that I build the rapport with the residents. And I think a lot of elected officials changed the way they felt pressured after to have to keep up with the social media game. Now, today, you see everybody doing it. But if you go back, we were really one of the first to start communicating through social media in ways that others didn't. I have another funny story. So we used to have our council meetings and live streamed only on YouTube or on our channel 77. And so I asked the mayor at the time, or I bring an item to live stream on Facebook, because I was like, at that time it was Facebook. Instagram wasn't like a thing. I was like, can we live stream on Facebook? Because a lot of people are on Facebook watching. Yeah. And they were like, no, we can't do it, whatever. So I was like, okay. So I went and I bought myself a tripod and an iPad. and I put the tripod and the iPad in the back of the council chambers, and I live streamed the entire council meeting to prove a point.
Right.
So I live streamed the entire council meeting on Facebook. Oh my goodness, they lost it. They were like, everybody say hi to Councilwoman Fraga's Facebook followers. And I was like, this is transparency. This is how you get people to get engaged. To this day, I'm always looking for ways to get people more engaged. I created now, we just started doing our meeting. Our meetings are in English, obviously. We have a very big Spanish-speaking population. So we created a way where people now with their own AirPods can listen to our meeting in the language that they choose. They just scan a QR code, download the application on their phone. They can hear everything we're saying real time in the language they choose. You know, we're the first city to do that. So there's so many ways that you can get people engaged and, you know, and participating. And for me, and I get a lot of criticism too about social media and how I utilize it, and that, you know, the whole influencer thing and stuff. And I'm like, you have to do it. I always tell, if you're not posting or providing information to people about what you're doing, how do they know what you're doing? And so there's that balance that you always have to have too.
I always say social media is a necessary evil.
It is, totally.
Right? Like, we need it. We utilize it. Do I think it should be a source of accurate information? No.
But that's where most people are getting
But
their
that's where the majority of people are getting their news and getting their information. So it's really hard.
Yeah. It's a poison.
It is.
Right. I do believe it's a poison for our children. I don't let my son be on social media. I created like a little, he's a huge golfer. And so we created like a little Instagram account for him, which took me a really long time to decide to do, which I manage and he has no access to, but it's, you know, he's playing his golf and he loves that he has it and he knows he has it, and he'll tell me to show him, like, to post, and he wants me to collaborate with him on stuff. Yeah. But he doesn't have access. He doesn't have a phone. He doesn't have, you know, his iPad is in our safe Monday through Friday. He only uses it Saturday and Sunday, like, to play his little games when we go places and stuff. It's a huge poison for our youth, and you really have to know how to utilize it to benefit you. And I talk to the students a lot about this when I go to the schools, as I tell them, learn to use social media to your benefit. Don't let it use you, because it can be utilized in that way. It's such a necessary evil.
We could do a whole episode on being mom and social media. I will tell you this. I have a 16-year-old and an almost 18-year-old, both girls. And my oldest daughter, I have the screenshot on my phone, messaged me the other day. And she said, can you put my time limits back on Instagram? It's not good for me. I don't like it. I'll let you know.
Good.
And I was just like, we turned a corner.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I think more are starting to realize it, to be honest. They're seeing it in their friends. They're seeing how it impacts them. It's going back to what we initially started with, choosing to be happy.
Exactly.
It drains you.
It does.
It's so drains you. It's funny because people tell me all the time, they'll be like, oh, I sent you a message on social media, or like I tagged you or whatever. And I'm like, people think that I must think I'm on. So I'm not, I don't. Yeah. I check my message. Honestly, when I open up Instagram, the first thing I go to is my messages. Right. Because I know people try and communicate to me or with me through there. So I'll go and I do respond to all my messages on there. But I'm not like scrolling social media. One, I don't have the time. And two, it's just so draining. It's so draining.
This conversation has gone full circle back to mental health, which is what it's about. Not only making sure that our first responders, not only in Doral, Miami-Dade County, but everywhere, are getting the help that they need, and knowing that they can get help and that it's okay. But for all of us, right? Yeah. It's a reminder to check in with ourselves.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. It was so great to be here with you guys. And yes, we could probably do, I don't know, more than just one episode on social media, mental health, all the things. Yeah. So, but yes, you guys are great, and I'm always here to help and talk about all these wonderful things that we as women face on a daily basis, and really our entire community, and that we should be more involved in, you know, making sure that our communities are places where our children are growing up healthy and happy. Absolutely.
Priority.
And really quick, any upcoming events that you would like to?
Oh my God, so many. Yeah, so many. This is our busy season now. So all of our holiday events are incredible, from our tree lighting ceremony to our holiday lights and ice. Our amphitheater is now open. So we'll have some concerts coming up that are going to be very exciting. A lot of Spanish music, but I'm hoping we're going to do like a country fest or something there at some point.
I'll come down.
Yes, for that. So we have a couple of those coming up, and then we're having our first ever golf tournament gala to raise funds for kids at risk through our Parks and Police for Kids Foundation. So anybody who's interested, whether you have a business or you want to just come have a fun time with us, it's going to be a lot of fun. So yes, we have a lot of great stuff happening. Our turkey giveaway, we do over 600 turkeys and meals for families with American Foods. So if anybody's in need, reach out to us. We have a big HOA and condo fair where we provide free legal services for people who have fallen as victims into, or maybe feel that they have or are not sure, just people that need help. We do that at the Fire Memorial Building actually on September 27th. September 27th, right? Yes, September 27th. So anybody who wants from the entire county that wants to come, it's been a real success every year we've done it. So we're expecting a big turnout. We bring over, I want to say we have over 7 law firms that specialize in different parts of condo and HOA law. It's such a big deal, you know, in Miami-Dade County here. And so we bring them and they give free legal advice and they present so people can get better informed on what their rights are and if they are victims. What else do we have going on? We have a lot of stuff.
Listen,
Everything's on my social media.
There you go.
I post everything there of what's coming up so that you all could be informed and come and get resources and information and just be engaged and involved.
Well, Christi, thank you so much. Here at First Alarm, we always remind everybody that if they see something, to sound the alarm.
Save a life.
We'll see you next time, guys.
Bye.